now we're recording. Okay, sweet. So to do indexing and family history and whatnot, I'm sure some of you are already familiar with this. You go to familysearch.org. To sign in, you just go to sign in. I like to sign in with my church account. It's just easier and I, don't have to type as much. And I just did that automatically because I just signed in about 10 minutes ago, so I probably didn't want my password and all that again. So this is familysearch.org. There's a ton of awesome stuff that you can do on here. You can find people to take to the temple. You can find information that other people have loaded, like on your family. That dude has a cool beard. Recent people that have been worked on, like their records. Yeah, just a lot of cool information. Stuff up here. You can look up your family tree. You can add memories of your family. You can look at ordinances ready, again, to find names that you want to take to the temple. Find your reservations. You can make reservations to the temple on here. And then a lot of cool activities that you can do, like you can find famous relatives that you're related to, compare your face to your relatives, see who you look like. I don't know, it's pretty cool. And then for indexing, you go to get involved and indexing. So this is the little homepage that you get when you go to indexing. Down here, you'll see like the groups that I'm in. The one that we're gonna look at right now is the Eastland Ward, which we have our goal of 1,000. We don't really have a time frame. I think we're wanting to do that maybe by the end of the first quarter of the year. But I mean, we're trucking along. We're at 206. Oh wait, that's for the year. Well, we're still for this month 199, which is really good. Considering I think when we started February, I think we had 6 or so. So we've got some new board members that have joined the group, which is awesome. Yeah, and then you can also make your own goal. I don't know how to get back to where I had made my own goal or my own thing. Let me just go back. Yeah, so I made a target of 100 names this month and I almost there. But then you can also see like the groups that I'm in. You can request to add or to be added to other groups. If you're in Family Search already, you might already be in this group. This group is amazing. I think they've done like they had a goal of like 2 million and they've done close to 3. I can't remember where Ryan found that. Oh, I think all time. They've done a ton. So yeah, that's cool. Anyway, going back to find stuff to work on, you want to go to find a project. Okay, let me back up here and explain why we do indexing and why. I know it's not the most exciting topic in the world. I know that when people would bring it up in the past in a class or something, my eyes would usually glaze over, like family history and indexing is so boring. Why do we do it? Blah. It's because we want to help get these people's names to the temple. So indexing there's 2 steps. So let's go to, so I just clicked on find a project. There's no beginning level of indexing projects right now. So we're all going to be doing intermediate until you get fancy and you want to go to do advanced. But today we're going to look at some naturalization records. And these are really cool. These are people that are like, immigrated to the United States back when, people wanted to make a better life for themselves. They wanted to denounce their former government. They just wanted to come to America and make a better life for themselves. It was really cool. So the first step in indexing is what we're going to do today. Is just going over these names, making sure we have their name and date of birth, whatever information we can extract from these records and put it into the indexed record. Then it goes to a verifier who makes sure that the first record is correct. Some of the records are handwritten and they're difficult to read, so that's fun. But once you've actually indexed 1,000 names, you can become a verifier. So it's like, you're moving on up in the world and you can verify the records. And then after they're verified, those names go to the temple. So this is important stuff. This is a big deal that we're doing for people on the other side of the veil. And I'm just hoping, Ryan and I are both hoping with our callings that we can help people see the value, and even spending like 30 minutes on a Sunday to do this for people, because for one thing, our temple covenants say that we need to use our time and talents to building the kingdom. Well, this is it. I mean, obviously we can go to the temple, we can do the physical work, which is great, but I mean, we need the names there as well. So I hope and I pray that people get the vision of what indexing can do, and why we should be doing it. It's to help our brothers and sisters to progress. So here are some details that come up when you start to index. It's just some basic instructions. It says, if you're not sure if a project or an image should be indexed, do not mark it as no extractable data, because I'm not sure that maybe that just, I don't know where the record goes after that, but probably it might not be verified. So don't do that. So we're just going to go forward with that. First place to start when you're looking at this and you're like, what even is this? What information are we going to get? Is to start with the project instructions. There's tons of information. If you ever have a question, there's lots of resources on here. So this is the project description, which is naturalization records. And they're from New York, from the period of 1899 to 1955. Each image contains up to 2 records. So what to index? It tells you exactly what records to look at to extract information from. So you can get declarations of intention. I won't read all of these, but petitions for naturalization, ton of records that we can get information from, and what not to get information from. Do not index affidavits of witnesses, certificates of arrival, loyalty, indexes or images with only a name and a reference information. And I guess this is the one time when you would mark it as no extractable data. I don't think I've seen any of those so far. Following are examples of documents. So as you go down, you can like click on a document and it will tell you exactly where to look and what information to get. It's beautiful. It's almost foolproof as long as you can read the information. So you'll just go down, you'll find the record number, which might be up at the top right, or that's top right, or the top left. The record number, the record place, state of New York. Given name is going to be their first name. Well, actually, the given name is their first. It's all the names before their last name. So like if he had a middle name of, Sue, it'd be Ignacio Sue would be his given name. Surname is the last name. So this one's a little bit tricky. You could have even done Ignacio Espinoso, or they did Ignacio as the first name and these 2 are the last names. I don't know. Those get a little bit tricky, but anyway, going down, you'll see their birth date, 25th of August, 1902. And then you'll see their birthplace is usually up above there in Orense, Spain. I'm sure I said that wrong. The record day, well, actually it might be good. Record day, yeah, it's down here. 15th of August, 1924. This is a really nice record because it's typed, obviously. Sometimes they'll want the spouse's information. You'll see here that they're not married. Otherwise, in the indexing record, which we'll see, you'll see like a place to put the wife's name and where they were born. But this is the primary record for Ignacio. That's the person that we're focusing on here. What I find really cool in these records is that, just a little side note, they have to renounce forever all their allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, sovereignty. So we had to no more allegiance to this Alfonso the 13th, which I think is kind of cool. They're coming to America. They want to be Americans. So yeah, it's cool. And then there's a declaration of, what did we just do? Intention. There's a petition for naturalization if you guys want to look at that and those instructions. Ooh, that is funky. It's really nice is that you can zoom in on these to get the information. So we will go back to, first of all, it's going to ask you if this should be indexed. So we will just zoom in, make sure that we can read and kind of read it. It might have slipped in a middle name there. Anyway, there's a lot of information here. If some of it's missing, we're still going to index it. So we'll say yes, we want to index it. The second image is for someone else. A lot of information here, which is awesome. So we'll say yes, we'll index that as well. Sometimes these images, like this entry is one of two. What I learned as I'll explain this as we go on, but this entry actually has 2 pages, but I'll explain that as we go on. And if you guys have a question, please put it in the chat because I'm not really watching the like if anybody raises their hand or something, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can do that, or you can just like throw it in the chat and you can ask me to slow down or shut up or whatever. So we will start with a record number. And again, any field that we need to fill in has a place where you can like find where to find it. Often indicated near the beginning of the record. So we will find it up here, 66406. And then you can either enter or tab. The record place, again, you can click on this if you have questions on it. And we'll see here it's the state of New York. So we'll just do New York. Another option from enter, you can also hit tab. This given name might be a little bit funky. I see Fritz, but I don't know. It looks like they're adding a middle name. I don't know what that is. So we're gonna.
Maybe it looks like Eric.
Eric, okay, that's what I was thinking.
Maybe Fritz Eric Roden or something.
It's Eric. All right, we'll do that. It's gonna be verified. We're doing our best. We're gonna say that. Prince Eric, thank you, Christy. It's cool. You can see what their occupation is. He's a seaman. Okay, birthday. Oh, he has a tattoo on his right wrist. Might be an anchor. Okay, birthday is 10th of July. And once you start typing in, it'll pop up the month, and then you can just hit enter. And then the birthday or year, 1892, which is pretty cool. Scroll down to his birthplace, and it's, I don't know how to say that, Forshala. We'll just say that. Forshala, Sweden. And you want to put a comma between, just like it is on the record. If it just said Sweden, we would just put Sweden. Just put whatever is on the record there. The sex, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. On later records from like 1920 and forward, I think they have the sex up here, like I'm a male. Sometimes you can kind of figure it out because it says, well, this person's not married. But I don't know. Well, you know what? Let's look at the instructions. Index the sex only if it was specifically recorded, or you can tell what it was from relationship terms, such as son or daughter, or titles or terms. Pronouns are masculine by default. Do not assume the sex based on printed statements in the forms. Do not assume the sex of a person based on given names. See, I would say Fritz Eric sounds like a guy, and he's not married. Otherwise, if it says my wife is Sally, then we would probably be able to say, yeah, this is a guy. If the sex was not recorded or was not written, we would skip it. Something that kind of makes me want to assume also that he's a man is that he's a seaman. I'm going to say seaman just to pronounce it differently, but I don't know. What do you think, Ryan? Should I put in male? Okay, I'm going to put male because we're using our best judgment here. His name is Fritz. He's a sailor. He has a tattoo. Probably a guy. Since he's not married, there's no spouse given name. We can control V just to leave that blank. If you do leave something blank without control V, it will give you an error before you submit the record. So don't worry about that if you accidentally miss something. Birthplace will leave blank, birth year. And then the record date. Looks like the 23rd of April, 1924. So here's where it gets a little bit funky. Like this says there's entry 1 of 2. This means that this record here, or this entry, has 2 pages, or they're thinking it's 2 pages, but there actually isn't. So when we go to the next record, like entry 2 of 2, we're actually going to put control B on all of these. I don't know really how to explain it, except when we go to image 2, like this is image 1 of 2, when we go to image 2, it's going to be another person's record. If that makes sense, great. If not, just roll with it. I am a really good teacher. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next image, which will be this person. And now we have image 2 of 2. I don't know why it adds another page or another image entry. I don't know. This is just what I figured out. I'm new to this kind of as well, so we'll all learn together. 66407 is the record number. Record place is New York. Given name Azimira. I'm going to guess that she's a female because, oh, look at that. Yeah. Husband is Thomas. She's a housewife. Kind of makes sense. Birthday is 4th of March, 1895. Ooh. Brad Bilishki. I did not spell it right. Sorry, I talked to myself. So just, yeah. ID. Bilish. I'm just going to put it exactly like it is on the record. And
I
again,
think it's interesting that they collect all the spouse data because I'm sure the spouse has to have their own separate document that they
Yeah.
sign everything. So
yeah,
it's just interesting that they collect it twice.
yeah, it is interesting. And it's helpful for us too. We can, everything should match.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to say she's a female. Spouse is Thomas. We don't want to assume his last name. It might be Pizzolas or whatever that is, but we're not going to assume it. Surname may be written. If you cannot determine if a name is given, yeah. Do not assume a surname from the surnames if other mentioned in the document. So we're just going to leave this one blank. His name, whoops, what did I just do? Oh, I just copied, I was working on a paper, so I'm just going to put my notes in there. Just kidding, Control B. Birthplace of Thomas was Lithuania. Birth year we probably won't have, no. And then we'll go to the record day, 23 of April, 1924. And then same thing, we'll have to go to entry 2 for this document or for this image, just Control V through it.
I just saw in there that it specifically says, I'm not a polygamist or a believer in the practice of polygamy. Have you seen that before?
I've seen that. And it also says I'm not an anarchist.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It is interesting. It's interesting that people like things that people had to do to like become a citizen. Okay, so we have all of this index. We have the blank pages blanked out or whatever. And we're going to submit the batch. There's no issues. I didn't have any empty boxes. So we'll just submit that. And that's all there is to it. If you want to go to another one, we can do another one. You just click on similar batch, pulls up the same information. This one might be a little trickier. I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, and sometimes, oh my goodness, these records, they just get scanned in. So sometimes you'll get like pages on top of other pages. Just kind of have to do your best. This one might not even, like this first page, might not be able to get anything from. Because we don't even know what type of document this is. But over here, we have a petition for naturalization that we could do. But before we do that, I can just show you some more things if you want. If we want to just go back to web indexing, but I'm going to save this batch for myself, you can just hit this back arrow. And then that will take us back to, where you can find a project. On that, if we want to see these mortality schedules, Ryan and I were looking at before we started the recording, and holy cow, if you guys, when you get a little bit more, it's really not that advanced. It's just going to be time consuming because it's going through all of these names. Wow. The ones where we were looking at were, you could read them a little bit better, but basically it's just documenting when these people passed away. Yeah, each image contains up to 50 records. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work. So yeah, it gets complicated, and I haven't done this type of record before, so I'm not going to do that right now in front of everybody, but there's definitely different kinds of projects that you can do. Oh, and if I decide I don't want to do those mortality schedules, I can click manage over here, click on that, and I can just go ahead and give it on back. So that someone that knows what they're doing can look at that. But there's different kinds, like I said, different kinds of things that you can do. There's city directories. Special instructions for indexing surnames and deceased individuals that differ from the general indexing guidelines. Each image contains up to 250 records. So this one might be another one. Oh my, is this a phone book? I think this is a phone book. Okay, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I just kind of want to see what they're doing. But like I said, if you get into something that's kind of gnarly, there's instructions for everything, which will be helpful. Surname, given name, spouse's name. So that should be pretty straightforward. All right, does anybody have questions? Something that you want me to walk through or look at? No, this was kind of fast.
I don't really have any.
Okay. Russ is saying that the directory is not that isn't that straightforward. It was not. That was kind of gnarly, wasn't it? Let's look at it again. We have some time.
Well, the reason why it's not straightforward to me is finding, like, if there's only one person on the line, then maybe, but like that Fleischman, is Princeton underneath? That's probably just the address for the Fleischman up above. Yeah, that one. Or the one we were looking at, Cami and I were looking at one where there were different people underneath the, like you'd have like that Fleischman and then underneath them. So like, well, keep going down. Like is Harry L. Furniture? What does that mean? Like, is that Harry Fleischman, Harry L. Fleischman? Is he a furniture maker? Like,
I think you're right, because I mean, this is manager of yeast. I don't know.
And then like Geo is grocer.
Yeah, foreman.
But
yeah, I think it's giving their profession.
But and then it says the Fleischman Company. Do they belong to the Fleischman Company, or do they go along with Fleischman that's above that as a as a heading? So stuff like that was not straightforward, and I wasn't sure how much we were supposed to guess, because I think I know kind of how it goes together, but
yeah, because I was thinking this was their last name, but I mean,
Yeah, I think that all of those are like Gustav Flag and Gustave Flag and Harry H. Flag or however it is. But
But when you get a company, Fleischmann looks like the Fleischmann Company.
and so does that mean that what is it, Chaz or works for the Fleischmann Company, or who knows? Or Eugene, does he work for the company? And
Yeah. I don't know. Let's look at these instructions and see if it has more detail.
I think it would help if I don't know if there are people who do like tutorials of specific documents like this
Mhm.
one where they would kind of go a little deeper to answer some of those
Yeah,
questions.
and I'm part of a group on Facebook. It's the Grantsville Family History people. I think this would be a really good question to take to them because this is very interesting.
So like that right there, that totally makes sense because they have it all marked up in red.
Yeah.
But it's
And it's a husband or last name, husband, wife, boom. But
I assume that those little quote marks mean repeat of whatever is above
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah, I think I will reach out to that group and ask them about that indexing record because that is complicated. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
When you ask them, so I noticed that there's a bunch of them that say like EDW. And I'm
Mhm.
wondering if that's like short for Edward. I was curious if like we're supposed to make that exception and put like Edward or just put exactly what's listed.
Oh,
where do you
yeah.
see that? Where's that?
Um,
Oh, like WM for William.
yeah. But there were a ton of Edwards, like one like EDW, like one right after the other somewhere.
Like in the middle of the page near that Fleischmann Company, if you go
Oh,
a little
there's
bit
WM.
below that, there's like a WM, two WMs a little
Yeah, I
further
see
down.
that.
Yeah,
Is that William? Probably.
yeah, I would think so. Just wondering like how. Okay, so all right, so these fields are specific to this type of record too. The prefix, the given name, spouse's surname. Huh. That's interesting.
And we don't see spouses, or Cami and I saw like maybe one spouse, and it was hard to tell because sometimes you have addresses that look like they could be another name, but
Yeah, and there's like Sophia, looks like she's a widow, maybe, and Andrew was her husband, would be my guess.
yeah.
Here's a guy who's a bird fancier, which is interesting, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but
I keep seeing ELK everywhere.
yeah, I think that means that they were an elk, like that was a society of
Oh yeah.
people. My grandpa was a member of the Elks Club.
Oh, I thought you were messing for a second.
No,
Yeah, that means they're an elk.
but I mean, I don't know if it was a profession. It was like more of like a philanthropy. I think they did like fundraising and stuff. I don't know about it being a career, but I don't know. Okay, yeah, I will ask about that. That's funky.
That is very funky. Wow.
No, go back.
Interesting.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
In a directory like that, does each name count for one, or is the page count for one?
I think it's going to be entry 1 of 250.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's going to go on for, wow. Yeah. That one would be a beast. And Ryan, do you know if you can like save work and go back to it later? Because
I believe you can.
yeah, Ryan is saying that he thinks you can. save your work and go back later, because this will be a beast. There might even be easier things to do under the advanced. Just kidding, I don't know. Oh, there's church records. That would be interesting. Okay, well, I've probably blown everybody's minds anyway with that city record thing, so we'll stop there. But thank you guys for joining. I did record this, so I guess I can I don't know, put it on the Relief Society page on Facebook or email it out or something, so yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for putting that on.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that, oh, are you ending? I think it'd be cool if you went through specific thing again, like if after you talk with the other group, if you had another
Yes,
presentation to go follow up on that so that we could
yes.
then tackle those.
Yeah, for sure, I will. Thank you. Yep, and we're doing another one Thursday evening at 7, but it's more of just like the basic run through thing, but I'll let you all know what I find out on this city directory thing and do another Zoom on it too, even if I just have to record it and post it somewhere or email it out.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
See ya.
Bye.